Greetings everybody, Dee Dee, the occupational therapist here. Today I'm doing a video on handwriting without tears and introducing it to you all and what that means and how maybe you can use it at home. So handwriting without tears is a trademark, and it's registered and created by another occupational therapist in the country. I can't remember her name at the moment. And it's a technique on how to learn letters. There's a precursor to just understanding letter components, or what shapes make up letters. And first you want to teach those, and then you want to start teaching letters and how to build them. So I'm going to show you a few tools that I use and how you might be able to create that at home. So the handwriting without tears blocks, there's 3 different shapes. There's a big curve, there's a big line, there's a small curve, and there is a small line. So I have quite a few of all of those. If you can look in my bag, I have quite a few of those shapes. If you want, you can purchase these online from the Handwriting Without Tears website, or you can make these with, let's say, cardboard. If you're a good woodworker, you can also try to make them yourself out of wood. Another option is construction paper, and you can make them, you can color them with different construction paper colors, so that might enhance the experience. Okay, so when we're building letters, it's always good to first familiarize yourself with the components of the letters. So first you want to teach as much as you can the difference between a big curve and a small curve, and then the difference between a big line and a small line. That can be really hard and take a lot of time and a lot of practice. So just stick with it. Keep trying, try to use it in a creative way. I'll do a video link to Matman, and Matman is the pre-Handwriting Without Tears activity where you build a body with these same shapes, and his name is Matman. You use, for example, like 2 big curves. I'll show you that on my board here. 2 big curves to make his head, and then a small curve to make his mouth. You can use a big line to make his body. And there's a whole song. Like I've said before, song is a really great way to enhance movement and learning. So I will send a YouTube video along with this that has Matman, so you can practice the pre-writing components from the Handwriting Without Tears to learn like the difference between big curve and small curve, or big line and small line. So once you have those down and your child knows how to identify these different components, you're welcome to get a board that would provide a high contrast to whatever your letter blocks, whatever color they are, you want to contrast against that, so that way it enhances the visual for your student or for your child. So let's just start with understanding why we want to use a rectangle background with high contrast. So the way that I like to think about this is like a boundary box. When a child is first learning how to write, they have to understand that the letters are contained within a space. So how does that relate to writing? In writing, when we start writing on lined paper, we have to know that the letter touches the top line and the bottom line. So if I use a box to start that concept with my Handwriting Without Tears blocks, it's really helpful for students to get that concept down. All right, so let's start with some of the letters that they would initially start with in Handwriting Without Tears. And those are the very simple letters that might take only 1 shape to create. For example, we like to start with the magic C. So here we are starting with the magic C. This might be backwards for you over there, but you get the idea. So you'll lay this out in front of your student or your child, and we make the magic C. And it's just a big curve. So I like to make sure that magic C is touching at least one of the lines. This obviously is a bigger box and not made for the handwriting without tears. Typically when you're making a handwriting without tears boundary box, it would have this blue line would be lower down here, so it goes exactly, it touches the top and it touches the bottom. So a good way to modify that on my board, since we always have to be creative, is to just take a chalkboard, take a chalk and make a line on my board. Okay, so now I have magic C touching the top and touching the bottom, and I can explain that concept to my student. We're touching the top and touching the bottom with our magic C. Okay, so we got big C down. From magic C, we can make, for example, O. So here we're making O. So magic C just keeps going with another big curve to make O. And then from our letter O, we can make Q. So we just take a small line. I don't know which way for you guys this would be mirrored, probably this way, to make Q. Again, you would want that to be in front of your student or your child so that they can relate to it in the way that they would relate to it on a piece of paper. Okay, so we have Q now completed. Okay, again, these are capitals. I'd like to show you how that relates to a handwriting without tears booklet. So this again can be ordered online, or you can just practice and get some templates off of the internet and print them out. If you look into this booklet, it starts with some easier letters. So we talk about the capitals. First she talks about frog jump capitals, and then corner capitals, centering, starting capitals. That was like with the letter C, where we start in the center. And then she goes to lowercase letters. So the reason I didn't start with the frog jump capitals is because in this activity we're learning just how to build the letters with the blocks, and we're not necessarily doing what the letter requires, which would be a frog jump. So her first frog jump capital is the letter F. So if we were building the letter F, you can ask your child, okay, how would we build it? Do we need a big line or a big curve? And you can have the model in front of you if you like, so they can look, and you can say, oh, it looks like there's a big line. Okay, let's get our big line, and we're going to put it along the edge of our box. Okay, so we have our F, our big line for the letter F. Now we're going to look at our model. Do we need a big line or a small line across? So I like to also talk about directionality. So when we're doing our big line, we would say big line down, because we start a letter at the top and we go down. There's a little song that goes, if you're gonna start a letter, then you better start at the top, at the top, at the top, top, top. So that helps us know that most of our letters start at the top and go down. So we go big line down. And this is why we call it a frog jump letter, because after our pencil is down, we jump up to do a small line across. And then we jump to the middle, and now we need another small line to go across. And here we made our letter F. Very nice. So this is a way to keep practicing. And now she goes to the letter E. So traditionally we were taught to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now with writing, our letters are taught in sequence to help us build upon the last letter that we built. So, for example, we just built the letter F with a big line down, small line across, small line across. Naturally, we would now go to the letter E because we're only missing one line in the letter E. And it's one small line down. Small line across. So now we have the letter E. Again, it's sitting in relationship to the child as it would on a piece of paper. So we went from F to E, and now we're going to D. Okay, so we use our big line down. Now do we need a small curve or a big curve to make our line D, our letter D? Big curve, that's right. So we go to D, and now we've made our letter D. Then her next one goes to the letter P. Okay, so big line down. Now we just need our small curve to make the letter P. So now the kids are able to recognize how D looks different than P due to using a big curve rather than a small curve. Okay. After P comes B. Okay, naturally, so we can see. We use our small curve at the top and then another small curve at the bottom to make the letter B. Beautiful. B, b, beautiful. You can practice sounds if you want. B, b, bunny. B, b, bubble. Those types of things. Okay, so with our letter B, again, I wanted to just get back to that frog jump letter. Why it's a frog jump letter? Because we do a big line down when we're drawing it, jumping up, small curve, small curve. Okay, so once you're going through all of these and you feel that the building's going great and you're ready to move into some writing, or you want to just enhance it, you can do a building of the letter and then you can practice writing the letter. So you can move the blocks away, and in the case of B, we would have our board. We would take our chalk and we do a big line down against that boundary line, jump up, small curve, small curve. And a way to reinforce that, let's say you did that hand over hand with your child, now they have a template of which to build the letter on top of. So you can take the blocks back in, do a big line down, and now they can see, okay, the next thing is a small curve, and then another small curve. They can see, they have a visual now to make the letter B. All right. So those are our Handwriting Without Tears introduction to that. Some of our sessions might include, I would say which letters to work on this week. I would explain why, maybe do the category for a couple months of the frog jump letters, and then the category of the starting corner capital letters, which would be, I'll explain in another video or in a Zoom call. But I just wanted to get you familiar with the Handwriting Without Tears blocks, the shapes, what we call them, how to use them, how to build them, and how to write them at home. Feel free to go to the Handwriting Without Tears website to re-look at the precursor shapes for Matman, or to look at how you can get some of their templates to do some writing practice as you would in their workbooks. You can find these online too. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in our next video.